Hey there, I'm Martin Faulks, and this is a spiritual person's guide to creating wealth. This video is for anyone who wishes to make money in order to have a better effect on the world around them, to improve the lives of those they love, help those in need, and to be able to escape the 9 to 5 so that they can fully explore, enjoy, and understand life. In this video, I'm going to start by discussing what money is, taking a brief look at the financial system which we live under, and then I'm going to talk about the methods used by people who really just want money and why we shouldn't imitate them. And then finally, I'm going to talk about a template of excellence, how you can apply spiritual principles in order to gain wealth through genuine expression and improvement of who you are and what you want to do in the world. Let's start off with our contemplation of money. When we think about money, we think about notes and coins. And those notes have pictures of powerful authority figures on there. Presidents, prime ministers, royalty. Sometimes you get the odd famous inventor. They also have coats of arms and crests and symbols of authority. Really, money is just the human race's method of dividing up power. Some animals, they make noises, they bark or they chirp at each other, and the loudest animal gains dominance. Some fight. Some do displays which are either athletic or involve plumage. Some mark their territory in various ways. Humans do all that, but what we really use, the main marker of our status, is money. And the system that we live in is all based on money. In order to make sure that you keep working, everything's been designed so that it's very hard for you to function without money. If you owned your own house, you still have to keep making money, even if you don't have to pay rent or mortgage, because there are rates, there are council taxes. Likewise, anything you do earn is taxed as an income tax, which actually goes up, so that the better you do, the harder you're hit. The more you make, the more they take. So as you can see, it's not set up to help you. No one's wanting you to thrive. Likewise, there are some very clever taxes to stop somebody who's done very well from freeing someone else. So there are gift taxes. A very wealthy person can't give you lots of money without lots of that money being taken. And there are inheritance taxes. So if your parents or grandparents worked really hard, they can't just hand it down to you without some of it being taken away. From the moment you were born, you are part of a system that expects you to start going to school, to learn to work from 9 o'clock to eventually to 5 o'clock, to pay attention to authority, to do your best, and then go home. In your adult life, the same is expected. And anything that breaks that system tends to be stopped. So if you look very carefully, you'll see that whenever there's a business model that really makes a lot of people rich, a new tax comes in to stop that working. So no matter what anyone says to you, your government does not want you to thrive too much. They don't want too many people to get free of the system. So we need to look at that, and we need to enjoy that. Enjoy the fact we're part of this big monopoly game. But we also need to understand how big a challenge that is. There's not many people that do manage to get free and become independently wealthy and retire early. So let's look at those who do well financially. Let's look at people who are just out to make money. People who want to make money and that's their main motive in life, tend to make a very objective and realistic assessment of what business they go into. So they'll become a estate agent, they'll go into real estate, or become a car dealer, or do something else which they know is extremely financially rewarding. They will start a business that they know is going to be really effective. Maybe they'll start a coffee shop in a university campus, so they've got all these students with lots of money on site who don't have any other purchasing options. People who are very interested in money tend to put a lot of effort into it. And when that effort doesn't work, they tend to put more effort in. And efficiency tends to go down. So the people I've seen who are very successful businessmen always seem tired. And though I have seen some people get free of the system, and I've seen people make money through this money for money's sake method, the sacrifice is quite big. So often it's very hard for them to keep a good relationship because they don't see their wife or their husband very much, and so often they end up divorced or with a very big house, a very big empire, but not a very happy one. Often they regret not being able to have as much time with their children or actually taking time to enjoy the world. And it tends to be addictive, so what happens is the more money they make, the more overheads, the bigger house, the bigger car, the more they want to make more money. And they tend to become completely hypnotised by the system, so they actually start to believe that the value of someone is how much money they make, that it's real. And this can be quite hurtful. I was once at a funeral of a friend's, and this is a real situation. And my friend, he was an artist. So what he'd done was he'd deliberately chosen a life whereby he'd got a day job, it wasn't that challenging, and he could do that job and get home and he'd be alert, alive and full of energy and be able to paint and spend time with his family. Then he managed to enjoy his life without sacrificing any of the good things, and managed to be the father he wanted to be. Now unfortunately he died very early, and at his funeral his work colleagues weren't standing around saying what a great man, he was always fun, or he was such a good artist, or he was such a good dad. They were saying it was a pity, it's a real pity John never reached his full potential, because to them he'd held back. He should have been making money. Money's more important than anything else. So if you focus on money, you start to become corrupted by it. You start to become obsessed by it. That's not to say that everyone becomes like this, but it's a risk you take. And it's hard because there's no other motive than money. You need to constantly adjust your attitude to keep going. So if you get any of these manuals on how to be an entrepreneur, how to be a good businessman, they'll tell you things that anyone doing something they enjoy doesn't need to know. So they'll tell you, always smile to your customers, always make sure you call them often, make sure you've got the right attitude towards things, make sure you network and make lots of friends. They'll give you all these kind of adjustments which are natural when your heart's in it. So, if you are a person who's got higher motives, you should really avoid any plan which is just money-centred. And this can be quite tough because the more sensitive and thoughtful people that I've met really do want to be free. They want to be free in the sense they don't want to have a job and keep working day in, day out. It seems like a waste of life. And this fear of having to work and to go through this drudgery forever and to waste their time doing that, unfortunately, catches them out and they end up doing more of it. So they end up in a job where they're so tired they can't do many other things, and they put more effort in, or they take on other projects in their spare time and they keep applying more and more effort into something they don't really want to be doing. So what's the alternative? This is the important part of the video. What's the alternative? How do we do it? How do we win the right way? We don't want to become corrupted by money. We don't want to become obsessed by it. We don't want to sacrifice our life for it. How do we do it? Well, we need to rise above it, in the sense that we need to focus on something bigger than money. So the mission is summarised as follows. Find a way to be paid to play. Find a way to be paid to do what you really, really enjoy doing. This is the key, and if you can find this, everything else falls in place. So to begin with, don't think in terms of make big money, think in terms of having enough to survive. But the big money will come later if you carry on listening. So what happens? Once you've got something that you genuinely love and that you genuinely think is valuable in the world, you have created something that has a genuine receptacle for your positivity. So all these teachings that you may have learned about the law of attraction, about positive thought, it's really hard to do them if you're not doing something you believe in. It's really easy to do them and to give off that kind of energy if you're doing something you want to be doing. Genuine enthusiasm is infectious and unstoppable, and everything becomes healthy. So it's better to start off being very poor, being a yoga teacher, than it is to start off being more wealthy, working as an accountant, if you love yoga but hate accounts. You need to make that jump and have the guts to do that. That's the leap of faith you need to start off with. Just have enough. But then something wonderful happens. So the extra effort you need to put in disappears because you're enjoying what you're doing. In fact, you have a hard time stopping doing it. But also, you're resting properly, your life is balanced, you're continuing with your spiritual exercises, you're evolving your consciousness, you're becoming more aware, more skillful, more in tune. So what you start to do improves continually and becomes more effective. So you start to do the things that have a big result for small effort. You start to work smart, not hard. And then the money is a side effect. You can see that this works in many other areas in life. If you ever think about it, you might be able to recognise a few of these. I found with my book projects, whenever I write a book, the ones I write because I really love them, I have recognised some value in that subject matter, so when I publish it, everyone else loves it. In the past, when I've made a mistake and done something thinking this will make lots of money, no one's liked it. You might see people who they want to fall in love, and you can't try to fall in love. It's a really fruitless thing. It's like trying to go to sleep. If it's not genuine, it doesn't work. And it's the same here. As you start to evolve doing something that's genuine, you will improve. So every time you improve, your outward expression improves. And every time you learn something about what you're doing, you improve. So this sort of as above, so below kind of thing starts working properly, rather than you having to force yourself to carry on doing something you don't really want to learn about. So you've already turned off half your talent. Your job should be another means of self-development. And your spiritual exercises should be another means of improving how good you are at your job. This way, you will start to rise to eminence by merit. Your reputation will start to improve because you are excellent, because you are genuinely wonderful at what you're doing. And this can't be hidden. True enlightenment cannot be hidden. Your reputation will spread, your customers will improve, and all the things that you hear people tell other people to do to make money, you'll be doing naturally. So networking will be replaced by making friends. Recruiting will be replaced by finding allies that enjoy what you're doing just as much as you enjoy doing it. There'll be no need to create a positive mental outlook because you'll have one. Every single word, thought and action towards your business will have ripples which will bring back success. And most of all, your attitude towards money will change. So money may be power to society at large, but to you, it's the ability to do good. It's goodness. So don't think in terms of money, think in terms of the wonderful things you want to do with it. So if you want to go on holiday, aim for the holiday. If you want to help someone who's in need, think of it in terms of help. If you want to buy something or somewhere or do something which is good and has a good effect on those you love, imagine the smiles on their faces. Don't start looking for zeros. This should naturally be a side effect. That's the most important thing to get across here, is the side effect. Just like in exercise, if you focus on the changes to your body, that distracts you from fully applying yourself to the actual exercise. These should be side effects. When you're eating food, focus on the goodness, making sure you're eating the ideal food, and let the changes and improvements to your body be the side effect. In your work, focus on what you want to achieve, what light you want to spread, what good you want to do, what fun you want to have, and let the money be a side effect that shows you when you're getting it right. That's all I've got to say on this subject. I hope it's helped anyone who's wanting to get free of the rat race. And just remember, when you find something that you enjoy doing and you get to a position where you're doing this for a living, you never need to work another day in your life. I'm Martin Faulks, and until next week, let's let every word and action be a reflection of our highest nature.